Is this finally the year Michigan makes it to the college football playoff championship game? Jim Harbaugh will have the Big Ten champs on the warpath as they seek to return to the college football playoff for a third consecutive season and demonstrate that the Wolverines' road to success is paved by a physical and dangerous ground game and a relentless defense. The talent gap is no longer an issue for Michigan as hated rivals Ohio State and Penn State no longer stand in their way to winning a national title. Beginning his 8th season in Ann Arbor, can Jim Harbaugh finally validate that the Wolverines can compete on the national title level? All right, so their first game is against East Carolina on September the 2nd.
That's a W all the way.
Yeah, that's it. That's an easy win.
Yeah, it's an easy win. And they at home too. East Carolina, mid-tier team. Yeah, and Michigan, should be ranked pretty high this year. They're gonna dispose of them pretty early. Yeah. Okay, September 9th, they play UNLV.
That's another win
Another
for them,
easy
man.
win.
I think Michigan is going to have too much ground control and defense. It's another tune-up game for them. I don't see them struggling at all.
I agree. And then we're going to say the same for Bowling Green. They play Bowling Green on September 16th. So they should start out right now at least 3-0.
It's gonna be a
Everybody
bloodbath.
agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to think, man. Michigan is bringing back Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, so it's probably the best 1-2 punch in the country.
All right, so their first Big Ten matchup is September 23rd against Rutgers.
They're gonna roll them.
Steamroll.
Ever since Greg Schiano took over at Rutgers, they've been getting tougher and tougher each year. I don't think they don't have the talent and the juice though to compete with Michigan just yet. But in a couple of years, Rutgers is going to be a competitive foe. All right, first test September 30th at Nebraska.
I think that's gonna be a tough game. Matt Rule took over as head coach, and I just think, we know what he can do. We've seen what he did at Baylor, right? He wasn't so successful in the NFL, but at the college level, he's a phenomenal coach, a terrific recruiter, and I think even though it's year one, I'm not saying they're going to beat Michigan, but Michigan is not going to come in and steamroll Nebraska, not in Lincoln.
I agree. It's not going to be like they're going to come in there and put up 40 in the first half. This is more of a challenging game for them. But I don't see them leaving Lincoln with a loss. They had four wins last year. Nebraska had 4 wins last year, and I don't think they're going to knock off Michigan this year. I just don't see it.
I'll be honest with you. I know this is Michigan's first road game of the season, but Nebraska just doesn't have the talent to keep up with Michigan.
No.
I can see them being competitive in the first half, but I think in the second half, Michigan will just wear them down. I expect a big W on the road for Michigan in this game.
Yeah, I'm guessing like a 10 to 14 point victory.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be closer than it was last year because of better coaching, but not enough to do anything.
All right, next is the second road game for Michigan. They play at Minnesota.
No, that's another win for Michigan, man. Minnesota, even though they're 8 to 10 win team every year, they just cannot get over that hump, and I don't think they're going to start this year. So
yeah, was it? They were 9-4, I believe, last year. But it's just Michigan is too the separation of talent is too wide for Minnesota to catch up to Michigan. Michigan is too talented.
If Michigan goes to Minnesota and struggles, now I kind of question whether they really are one of those teams that can go, and play against, the bigger teams in the college football playoff. So I expect Michigan to go in there and throttle Minnesota. All right, next game, October 14th. They'll be playing Indiana. Indiana's coming off a bye that week. Do you think Indiana has a chance to beat Michigan?
No shot in hell. They gonna get drugged. Not a chance, man.
They should.
Indiana's a
They
basketball
should.
school, and everybody knows it.
All right, next game. Now this is gonna be a tough one. October 21st, they play at Michigan State.
Nope. Michigan State don't stand a chance. They paid Mel Tucker all that money. I don't know why, because he ain't done nothing since. So, he had Walker carrying him that great season that they had, the running back, but he hasn't done nothing since.
Yeah, Michigan State's not. I don't see them being a threat to Michigan this year. They lost their quarterback and their one of their wide receivers, their starting quarterback and their starting wide receiver to the portal this year. So I just don't see them being competitive with Michigan.
Michigan beat them 29-7 last year, and after all that, they had that was it locker room or tunnel brawl. I don't think Michigan is going to struggle. Maybe the score, because it is kind of a rivalry game. The score may be a little closer, but I think Michigan controls the game from kickoff to the last whistle.
All right, so right now we got Michigan. They're going into the bye week, 8-0. The next one is November 4th, Purdue at home. What you got?
Yeah, again, I think Michigan is going to get them that work. Now, Purdue did pick up Hudson Card, transfer quarterback from Texas, so that's going to be a great addition for them. Because he's a solid quarterback, but it's not enough to move the needle.
I don't foresee them losing there. So it was 43-22 last year, and maybe the score margin will be closer this year, right? The differential there, but I think Michigan is they're on cruise control right, going through this part of the season right here.
They beat Purdue in the championship game, the Big Ten championship game last year. And as we see, that should be when both teams are at their playing at their best. And they mollywhopped them, right? 43-22. So, yeah, easy win. November 11th at Penn State.
Trap game. I think they lose this one. They're going to be on a high in Penn State. James Franklin, they're going to get that thing rolling. A good ground game. I think it's going to be a little bit too much. They're going to control the clock. They're going to take their first loss.
At Penn State. This is a tough call, man. Penn State's returning a lot of starters this year. They lost to Michigan 41-17 last year. And I don't know, it is going to be, I guess, it's going to be Michigan's first punch in the mouth in that season. But, I don't think they're going to lose it. But I think it's going to come down to a touchdown, maybe a 10-point game, with Michigan rolling on top.
Yeah, the last time Michigan played at Penn State, they won 21-17. I remember seeing something like James Franklin is 4-14 against Michigan and Ohio State. I think this year he beats Michigan. I think Penn State has a good team coming back. They got a good running back, a good quarterback. I think this is the year they're going to beat them at home. Then they're going to probably do a whiteout. They're going to come with it. 100,000 strong, and I think Michigan's going to struggle.
It's a day game.
That whiteout game is crazy.
Yeah, it's a 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it is.
And
yeah,
I mean, that'd be nice, right? For Franklin to get his finally to get over that hump of beating either Ohio State or Michigan. He's been struggling against those two. So consensus here is that they're taking the L, huh?
Yeah, taking the L. Next game at Maryland.
I think this is a win. Maryland, they just don't have enough talent to get that win. I know Loxley, the head coach, good play caller, very productive from the quarterback, the receivers, but I just think that they don't have enough on defense to stop Michigan's run game.
It was a close one last year, 34-27. So, was Lee Corso saying, not so fast, my friend, but I think I think they still come out. I think they still come out with a W out of there. I think the Penn State game was their wake up. It's like a wake up call. So they roll into Maryland, rolling strong, and they come out there with a W.
I think they're going to struggle a little bit with Maryland, but I think in the end they'll win that game. They'll be looking for a bounce back, after losing to Penn State the week before. And I think that's kind of what they need to, help push them over. Ohio State game. All right.
So,
last game. The big game. November 25th. Playing Ohio State in Michigan. Who you got?
Michigan at home in the big house. This is about to be 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row that they get a victory over Ohio State.
I think Ohio State's going to come in there and stun them. Right? Ryan Day and Ohio State, they've been feeling the heat from 2 years in a row, losing to Michigan. I don't think they go on to 3. So I know there's a lot of questions at quarterback, who's going to be throwing the ball at Ohio State and who. I just have a feeling Ohio State's going to come in there, silence the big house, walk out of there with a win.
I think that Michigan will win. And the only reason being is what you just alluded to, the new starting quarterback at Ohio State. They haven't. This will probably be the first game where he's going to experience something, an atmosphere like that, and have to try to win on the road against a hungry Michigan team at home. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it. I think Michigan pulls out. They may not blow them out like they did last year, but I think Michigan's going to win.
I mean, I think counterpoint what you say there. So the quarterback, whoever the quarterback is for the Buckeyes, by the time they get to Michigan, they're going to be tested a few times, right? Ohio State has, Penn State, Notre Dame. So he's going to be, I think he's going to come in there ready, focused. And the great, so Ohio does not want to take a third straight L to the team up north, as they call them.
So to your point, right? This is Ohio State's road schedule: at Indiana, at Notre Dame, at Purdue, at Wisconsin, at Rutgers.
It ain't the big house, man.
It ain't the big house.
Big house.
I mean, the only one I would say the atmosphere, probably Notre Dame and the Wisconsin. Yeah. But it's still not the same.
Nah, man.
With that being
nothing compares to the big house. It's the biggest stadium in college football. It is packed for that game. Yeah. But I'm sticking to my pick. All right, so we got
that being said, the consensus, but the consensus has Michigan at 11-1.
Yeah.
Going to the college football playoff. I'm pretty sure they'll beat whoever they play in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah,
I
agree. 11-1. Whether it's the loss at Penn State or whichever one, right? I don't see them slipping up to like a Maryland or a Purdue or anything like that. I see them getting into the playoffs. Now, there's where they're gonna feel the heat, I guess, because we saw them last year. They kind of crumbled against TCU when I think everybody had them to pick to win that game too. So
they beat themselves that game too. Yeah. That was embarrassing to watch.
That was. It was disappointing. It was disappointing to watch, but yeah, I agree. One loss rolling into the playoffs, and then hopefully they can keep it together this year.
Yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh learned a lot of hard lessons last year. I think he's gonna have them prepared. At least if they get to the college football playoff. Now again, will they be able to be competitive against a Georgia or an Alabama or whomever comes there? That's the question that still needs to be answered. But I think Jim Harbaugh learned his lesson. I think whoever they would play in the college football playoff in that first game, I don't think he'll have a letdown like they did last year.
No.
Mm-mm. But it's not.
Yeah.
All right, well, that does it for this episode of the Unbiased Room. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video, check out some of our other content. Tell us how we're doing. Take care.